I'm going to quickly show you how to do a rendered floor plan using Enscape. So for example, taking something like this is just in a realistic view using my floor plan. And then this is an Enscape. So just overall better rendering of materials. You can also see that some of my Enscape assets that I've used, they render a whole lot better than in here. They're just gray boxes. So if you're using Enscape assets, it's a lot better way to do it. So I'm going to start just in my Revit model up here. I'm in just a 3D view, any one you want. First thing I'm going to do is just grab my top. So I want just an overall top view. And then I'm going to hide everything that I don't want to see in my floor plan. So I'm going to hide in view element, that's my roof. And I'm going to hide my cans. Category. I've got these beam things too. All right. And then under here, let's see, section box, you're going to check that. And then it's going to bring up this box all around your model. Just bring it in. And then usually since a floor plan is cut at 4 feet, just going to kind of estimate where that would be. I feel like that's pretty good. All right, I'm going to leave it there. Go back to my top view. And then we're going to start Enscape. I already have it started in here, so I'm just going to go over here. I think this was 3D View 3. Yep. So go to your binoculars. It's the view management. And then to whatever view you have. And then hopefully it should be a top view like this. I'm going to go over to my visual settings. This is where you can adjust a ton of things. But the first thing I adjust for a floor plan is this field of view. If you're just starting out, it's going to be at this 90 degrees, and that way you can kind of see here, like you can see a pretty wide perspective of the walls and everything. So if you want like a straight on floor plan, bring this down to 0 or 10% or 10 degrees, I guess it is. And then that just makes it so the walls are a lot more straight on. Other things you can adjust, you can do outlines if you feel like it needs to be more defined. Color temperature. This is something that might need to be adjusted depending on how bright or dark your model is. If you want brighter, I just kind of play around with this until you're happy with how it looks. And then sometimes this also affects some of it. So if you have, say, a white background, sometimes it makes it darker in here. Yeah. So I found that this one works well with the floor plan. And then output wise, I usually like to do this Ultra HD just for my final renders. It's going to produce a pretty large image. So once you're happy with those, we can render. So this is the screenshot render button. It's going to have you pick a location you want. Test render. And then it'll take a minute to render up. Alright, so once you have your image, I'm going to go back into my Revit model. And then this is my floor plan. I want to right click on this and then duplicate. Can either do either of these. And then I want to make this hidden line. And any lines you don't want to see in your final floor plan, outline-wise, you can hide those. So I'm actually gonna just hide these by category so I don't see the lines of the furniture. You can pretty much do this to your liking. Alright, so once you're happy with that, just gonna go File, Print. Visible portion of current window. And then what else? Do setup. It's fine. I'm gonna zoom to 100. Or maybe I'll flip to page. Then I'm just going to do low and black lines for here. Once you're happy with that, alright, so I have that all saved. Now I'm going to go into Photoshop. I'm going to go File, Open. And first I'm going to open my render. And I'm going to go in, and open just the black line one. Alright. So on this one, I'm going to do Command A or Control A and then Control C. And I'm going to Control V, paste in here. You can see it's right there. I'm going to do Control T for transform. And then this just takes a little bit of maneuvering. Trying to get the lines and the scale right. I'm sure there's an easier way to do this, but this is just what I found that works. Just gonna line up one corner. Which actually that worked pretty well. It looks like all my lines are lined up pretty well. I'm actually gonna click this again. Make sure I have that layer selected. And then if you go under this panel, you can kind of play around with whether you want the black lines or the white lines. It's divide, I think, that makes it white lines. If you have kind of an off-white or tan background back here and you want this to be able to move on its own and not have a background to it, I'm just going to go to, I'm going to unlock this layer actually, go to this layer, and then use my polygonal lasso tool. And just click around. Have what I want. I think it's Control-Shift-I. Yeah, Control-Shift-I is going to select the inverse of whatever you selected. And then I want to make sure that this front one is white. Or you could just delete. And then that makes it transparent. Actually, that's probably what you would want to do. If you want it to be white, you can, oops. You can do Control Backspace. Oops. Sorry, Alt Backspace. And that colors it whatever your foreground color is here. Otherwise, just delete that. And I'm going to do Control D for deselect. And here's my floor plan. You can select all your layers and flatten your image. That'll just make it a much less huge file. And then I'm going to save as. Do JPEG, or I think you have to export if you want a PNG. So I'll do a PNG. Should have exported. And there's my image. So then you can add labels or bring it into Illustrator, InDesign, whatever you want to do with that. The one other thing I forgot to show is if you're in Enscape and you're not really happy with the sun, if you can see right here. So if you right click and then press the shift, oops, kind of tilted a little bit there, but, and then I'm just dragging my mouse, it'll adjust your sun position depending on where you want it to be.